Hi, my name's Salvador. Welcome to Slices Make a Loaf. This is my free training series on my method for building business, raising capital, and selling fast. It's called DSSD. Stands for Deal, Structure, Scale, and Distribute. I'm going to be sharing that with you across the entire training series here. I hope it's useful for you. I hope it's helpful for you. Hi, welcome to Slices Make a Loaf. Welcome to the training program. Thank you so much for taking this opportunity. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be able to really take you through my journey and how I've been able to execute against massive volume on a global level. I want to take this opportunity right now with this, I guess it's called a preface, this introductory element to the training course, to really set the tone, to really show you where the foundation lies, because there's a lot that we have to get through. I mean, there is really plenty, and I've really condensed a lot of it, and I've fine-tuned it, and I've cut off a lot of fat so that it's really something that you can take away from each course or each module and start executing straight away. But for that to happen, I need you to be on the same page as me. So there's a couple of things I just want to go through very, very quickly with you. And a couple of what is and what isn't. This training course is not sales training. It's really me teaching you the process for sales, how to strategically position your company in a situation where there's a sequence of aligned partners that can assist you or help you in selling fast. That's the point. We're not talking about how to train you into being someone who can just deliver more sales by the phone every day. We're not talking about how you can build marketing funnels online where it's really all based on you. I'm looking to show you how you can leverage relationships, partner up with companies that can help you sell at such a rate that whilst it's important to have good sales within your company, it's important to have very good marketing techniques and strategies. But we're not focusing on it in its entirety. There is an entire module on marketing, and I am covering it really from the bird's eye view in terms of how you should be dissecting your own marketing plan, where you should be focusing your energy as far as whether you're marketing directly to your customers or directly to people that can assist you in selling your business or product. So there's specifics in terms of that, but not in terms of a particular Facebook campaign. I'm not talking to you about how to specifically serve a certain demographic through YouTube, for instance. So that's not what it is. So it's not sales training. It's not online marketing training. You've heard me say partners. You've heard me say things like, I'll say things like distribution channel. I'll say things like networking. I'll say things like your downline. I'm not referring to multi-level marketing. That is not what this is. Although some of the terminology is similar, and if you are or have been exposed to multi-level marketing, look, a lot of the phrases are shared. I mean, distribution is distribution, right? Sales is sales. It doesn't mean that what I'm telling you is multi-level marketing. That's not what it is. I want you to be motivated. I mean, I'm pretty sure you're motivated quite a lot because you're here with me now. You bought this training program, but what I can promise you is that this is not going to be me filling it with, I guess, filler material, telling you how to get into the right headspace. That's not, again, what I'm trying to do. There are plenty of other people out there who are fantastic about getting you right and focused so that you can go out into the big wide world and execute against your business plans. But I'm kind of hoping that you've already gone through that process internally or through with someone else, and you are here now because you want an executable play-by-play. So that's what this is. It's not a motivational piece, although I hope it does motivate you because you're excited to get started. It's not pie in the sky either. I'm going to use examples from big business. I'm going to use examples from small businesses, case studies. I'm going to give you or draw from my own experiences with my own companies. The point I'm making is this. None of the ideas or concepts I give you are a waste of time. They're not unattainable. They're not pie in the sky. They are real. You can take these teachings that I'm going to explain, that I'm going to go through with you. You can apply them in the real world. They're not that difficult because look, I've done it and I've started my businesses. All of my businesses I've started as a one-man band. So not pie in the sky. Business plan. Well, to be honest, that's what it's closest to. It's more like an addendum to your business plan. You've got your own business or you're thinking about starting a business, right? This is really your action plan. So it's a business plan in and of itself, but it's your action plan as to how to execute quickly. And we're not, like I say, we're not just talking about nifty sales techniques or marketing techniques. This is really how you can take your product or service, mobilize it, and have it have it have a global impact. Or if you're not looking globally, if you're looking just in a specific country, you'll just have a massive impact straight away because of the leveraging of partners, of people within that field that you can work with. And that's what we're really going to work on showing you how to do. So, yes, children's toys. I'm not talking to you about selling children's toys. There's a reason for this. Now, the reason is I have a daughter. And as of today, 2020, this is December 2012, January 2020, and she's 16 months old. Gorgeous little thing. And she plays with hundreds of these toys. We have so many of these different toys in our house. And I've been seeing them a lot lately, and I kind of wanted to draw a parallel because there's something that resonated with me recently in preparing this training course. And that is that all of these toys obviously have a purpose, as you probably know. Their shapes, their colors, they make noise, they flash lights, they basically have a purpose for the child. The child is obviously excited to use them. They're entertaining for the kid. And this is literally taken from the boxes because I had to open a couple of boxes before I threw them away, and take some of these. These toys are designed to, create, increase overall cognitive skills, sensory development, sound location, motor skills. They're teaching my child, my daughter, as she plays. And that's what really we want from it. There's a certain key deliverable we have with these toys. And after a little while, as she develops, she stops playing with one and we switch it out for something that's within her age range. You get these things from 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3. That's kind of how they're sold. And the reason I'm talking to you about children's toys in that capacity is they're very much like our marketing platforms. These social media platforms that we use, I'm not saying that they're toys and that they're irrelevant. No. What I am saying though is that they all are fun and they serve a purpose, right? They're designed for us to be interacting with on a daily basis. I spend a lot of time on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, but after a little while, you start to recognize that there's a business behind this. The fact is that people can now market through them, but they're not the end all be all because after a while, those toys get switched out for different toys, right? Much like my children's toys. Remember when Google pay-per-click was the king and all you had to do was throw money at Google and your business would always get new business, right? And then that changed and Facebook's taken over and now Facebook's becoming a bit expensive and now people are looking at various other ways to execute their marketing strategies on social media platforms. You've got other hybrid companies that are not quite social media, but they're like these platforms that allow you to interact with other social media platforms. So Restream's an example of being able to live stream through, say, Facebook and YouTube and a bunch of others. So you can reach your audiences on all these different platforms through one. And so, but then they after a little while, they kind of die out and another company comes in. An example of that would be TikTok. All right. So right now, TikTok is really taking off. Everyone's kind of on TikTok. And people are saying that it could knock Instagram off its perch. Now, Instagram's been the king for the last, 6 or 7 years. Everyone's jumped to it and they've been promoting their companies through it. Now TikTok's the new challenger. And this is another example. There's no, simple one's the king. You really have to utilize these for what they are. They serve a purpose to you. So we're not spending this entire training course teaching you how to be a master in Facebook, a master in Instagram, a master in TikTok. That's not what we're doing. We're looking at how we can leverage these tools because that's what they are to attain a result that we want. And that's really what we're looking at. Okay. And so you can see big companies like this, right? And the reason I've got this, there's a reason for this. I'm going to actually just backtrack just for a second here, because much like these toys, after a little while, I want my child to stop playing with those toys, right? Not only will she stop playing with them herself, I also want her to start interacting with other children of her age group, right? I want her to go to preschool. I want her to play with them. I want her to learn how to exchange. I want her to learn how to share. I want her to learn how to interact, build up her social skills, learn that she can't be the person. She's our princess at home, but out there in that playpen, she now needs to start working with other children to be fair and equal. And that's super important. And the reason I say that is because much like businesses, big moves in big businesses are made in that way too. If you look at all these different companies, They have all got fantastic marketing of their own, right? They stand up on their own 2 feet. They've got huge amounts of staff. They've got massive budgets that the small companies like us, we could never hope to, well, not that we could never hope, but there is no real way for us to execute in the same way that they can when it comes to advertising. They've got TV budgets, radio budgets, billboard budgets, social media budgets that we could only dream of having, right? Fact is, but they didn't build their businesses on that. Those are tools for them, but they built their businesses different. And some of you may notice there's a connection here. There's a connection with all these companies. And I'm going to explain what that is, because I'm really going to focus on the backbone of what this entire training course is on, which is about leveraging other businesses within certain fields that are conducive to your business in a good way. And what I mean by that is this, and I'll explain it with this example. SAP. I want to circle him out, or this company out, because I really want that to be a really big impact here, because the fact is SAP, as of today, and has been for a very long time, is one of the biggest software makers on the planet. They're massive. You go ahead and Google them right now if you want. They're absolutely huge. But how did they get started? How did they go from like nothing to something in the billions over a very short time frame, and then hold that position for a very long time frame? Well, I'll show you. They started by selling or creating a bespoke software based off Oracle. Oracle is a database management technology company. So they build these huge databases. So SAP would effectively take Oracle's technology, make a slightly bespoke version of it, and pitch it to these companies here. So McKinsey & Company, Deloitte, and Accenture. These are business consultancies. Now, what do business consultancies do? Well, business consultancies go and consult big businesses, right? That's their business. They want to go out to Ford and Toyota and Kraft and Johnson & Johnson, Unilever, and you name it. Their job is to go out and provide consultancy services. So what SAP did was they leveraged the technology with Oracle, and they went to the consulting firms and they said, hey, we'll create for you the technology that you need in a bespoke way to match the needs of the companies that you're going to work with. And we'll do it in such a way that it's going to be fantastic for them. It's going to be fantastic for you. And so what happened here is this. These business consultancies essentially became the sales force, the mechanism for which SAP could now access this market of big business. They sold SAP's product for them. All SAP had to do was provide the foundation technology. And of course, Oracle provided that foundation technology to SAP. So Oracle's winning because they got paid. SAP's winning because they definitely got paid. These business consultancy platforms have a fantastic product that they can now implement into their huge, big clients. So they're happy because they got paid and they're able to manage these accounts. And of course, the clients are happy because they got what they wanted. Okay? It's a win-win-win scenario. Everyone here is winning and everyone here is happy. Okay? But you can see this connection. All right? And there's a couple other benefits that go along with this too. SAP's brand is now firmly embedded in the infrastructure and architecture of these different businesses. These consulting companies are now managing those accounts. So there's this consistent workaround, this harmonious ecosystem now that's been built that's kind of serving them for life until eventually, if these companies decide to opt for something completely different, which is going to be pretty difficult because their entire businesses now, their backbone has been built on this foundation technology originated from SAP or Oracle. Now SAP has actually gone on to create other platforms or software that actually is away from Oracle, but that's going a bit too deep. I hope you get the point. The point I'm making here is that whilst it's really great to think small business and to think, how do we execute? How do we use different platforms to just promote our businesses and our brands? There's a trick that we're missing a lot of the time, and that is partnering up or collaborating with other businesses that can help you achieve those goals. Because look, SAP, yes, they have their own marketing. They have their own social media. They have their own everything in regards to their marketing and communications. But then equally, McKinsey and Company do too. Deloitte do too. Accenture do as well. And then so does Ford. So if you've got these two segments here, marketing, SAP's product, that brand awareness, that advertising, that message is being received in a way that SAP couldn't have done by itself. And that's what I'm talking about. So that's an example of really big businesses, right? But this covers the entire spectrum. You know, on one side, let's look at the really far end of the spectrum, right? Financial institutions, okay? So let's call these banks. Okay, and on the other side, let's call them influencers, right? And in between, you've got restaurants, you've got manufacturing, you've got merchandising companies, you've got all these different businesses in between. And this is just one example of what a spectrum could be, right? So it's not the end all be all, but the way that works, leveraging relationships, working with distribution channels that are basically harmonious for everyone involved, that exists everywhere here in business. Absolutely everywhere. Now, okay, here's an example. With influencers, right? If an influencer or a podcaster has, let's say, 500,000 followers, okay? So 500,000 followers. That's their audience. That's what that represents here. And then they meet someone in a technology space, right? Someone who deals with space, for instance. Maybe they interview a CEO like Elon Musk, okay? They interview that person, or the influencer's talking to them. Now what's happening is their audience is now, they're having access to a whole new audience. They're serving their original audience with this new interaction, this new conversation, but they're also accessing the celebrity, the audience of the other individual. So if two podcasters are talking, or two influencers are talking, or if an influencer is talking to a specific celebrity or someone who's notable, they're accessing this huge audience. Now what's happening is this audience becomes one. They're actually getting bigger. And that's a person like Elon Musk in space. Now let's say they meet someone else, let's say in the fitness industry or movie actor or something. Now they've got another huge audience that they're now tapping into. And of course, all of these entities are benefiting from each other's audiences that are building up over time. That's another example of how you can leverage relationships. And this is, again, I mean, in a sense, they are kind of like distribution partners in a way, because what's happening is if you're product placing, if you're trying to sell something, if it's not just a conversation, but there's other ways that you're making money through it, your audiences are becoming huge. If the actor's promoting a movie, or if the other person is promoting a message, or if the podcaster itself or herself or himself have a specific product or some kind of ebook or something that they're trying to pitch on that day, or if they're being paid to have something placed within that scene, if they're being, they're actually going to get paid more. And that's a great example. But the same thing works with banks. They work in exactly the same way. Here's an example of an initial public offering, an IPO. We've all heard about those, right? Let me break that down to you, because it all works the same. Let's look at this cloud, right? The market, the stock market. You have all the different stocks out there, right? You've got Apple, you've got Microsoft. If we just pick, so this is the stock market, let's call that. You pick one stock, and it's on the NASDAQ. That's the market. It's Microsoft, okay? How does that it doesn't just get listed. There's an actual sequence, there's a way in which all these financial companies are making so much money, right? That stock, that company, that Microsoft stock, they classify as the issuer. So they're entity number one, okay? It's kind of like the Oracle in that previous example. Morgan Stanley is the originating agent. So what they are is the company or the financial institution that is taking Microsoft, the stock itself, to market. Now it's become available to basically have people come and buy into it, but that doesn't just sit there like that. They need ways in which to force feed the market. They want to get the message out there as fast as humanly possible to have the widest reach as possible. And so what they do is they syndicate with other banks, right? So you can call these guys the exclusive partners who get the contract. Yeah. So they get the exclusive contract from Morgan Stanley. There you go. Credit Suisse, Alex Brown, for example. And they are now able to push, really push this stock out. Now, ideally, they're going to be selling to institutional accredited investors. So either they're hedge funds buying them, other financial institutions buying the stock, accredited investors, so people who have a lot of money, and retail investors, your everyday investor. So what's happening here is you've got Microsoft going through Morgan Stanley, leaning on Credit Suisse and Alex Brown. They're going through now what's called broker dealers. These are other companies. And you could have tens, 20s, hundreds of these broker dealers who are now utilizing their armies. And I say thousands of financial advisors right here. These are your soldiers on the street. They're the ones who are really hitting the streets. They're going out there and they're talking to all these different investors. Anyone who's got an IRA, or anyone who's sitting there not knowing what to do with their inheritance money they've just got, they go into and they speak to a financial planner, a financial advisor. This is the chain. The financial advisor's got the products, the menu of different investment options. Microsoft's one of them, of course, from their broker dealer. Their broker dealer got that from their syndicate partner. Their syndicate partner got that through the originating agent. And of course, that all came from the issuer back at Microsoft. This is another example of how all of these companies, they stand on their own 2 feet, right? These financial advisors, they work for themselves. Each and every single one of these companies have their own advertising. They have their own strategies for building their own brand as independent entities. But as far as the big moves concerned, this is an example how these companies are working together in this distribution chain, in this what looks like a pyramid, right? It looks like you could say it's an MLM because they're marketing this one product through each other and everyone's getting a cut. There's a way that everyone is going to be paid to sell this Microsoft stock, and equally, if you go back a little bit here and we look at Oracle, we look at this chain where everyone here, Oracle being you could say the original product, everyone in this chain is being paid by the clients, by the customers. So I'm really making this point to say this is the backbone to this course. This is not an MLM, but what it is, it's leveraging relationships. And it's all easy and great talking about big businesses, right? Because they've done it well, haven't they? They've done a great job of making a lot of money so that when I put those logos up on the board, you can immediately recognize what I'm talking about or who they are, okay? But let's bring it down to planet Earth and talk about us, the small to medium enterprises. These are my businesses, okay? Now, I started Core Agents first, 2010. It's 2020, now it's 10 years. Core Agents has been my bread and butter for a long time. I started off as a recruitment company, a headhunting firm. I found out how to start leveraging relationships and building partnerships in this capacity. The way in which I marketed and strategized my business as far as strategic positions concerned, I really learned through my experiences with Core Agents. Now, over time, I developed out of recruitment and I started selling things like rubber, wholesaling rubber from China into Europe. I've sold trinkets and like merchandise products that are technically fads, and every certain time of year, some things would sell extremely well. And then there were other things. I got into real estate investments. I started selling houses. I started selling standard real estate property. Then I moved to real estate investments, and then went to alternative investments. It's been a journey, but along that journey, I've learned how to take this consultancy and be able to take on multiple different types of products from different spheres and be able to distribute them in the same way, to sell real estate the same way I sold these toys, the same way I sold wholesale rubber into companies in Europe. So that really was you could say my university was here. My college was in Core Agents. And my bread and butter at the moment, so I've switched. I really wanted to build my own private equity company. And that's what USPI is. USPI stands for US Parking Investments. It's a private equity company. And what we do, or what I do, is I buy parking lots, pre-existing, already functioning, cash flow money making parking lots. And I love them because real estate, it's the real estate under the parking lot. The parking lot goes up in value all the time, right? It's real estate. It just goes up in value over time. And the other thing I love about them is because they cash flow every single day. People pay to park, right? So there's money coming in and out. It's making money every single day. The third thing is the fact that, well, if we walk into this recession like we're planning to, or like the whole world keeps suggesting, and the price of milk goes up because the value of the dollar reduces, I can increase those parking prices parking is not regulated as far as pricing is concerned. I can increase the prices on the day. Unlike, if I bought multifamily apartment buildings or single family homes, you can't change the rent on someone halfway through the year. You're stuck with that as far as the tenancy is concerned, the lease is concerned. And at the end of that lease, you can only really increase it by a couple of percentage points at most without, otherwise you're risking losing your tenant. So I like the fact that I can do that. And also, I think the final point why I love parking is the fact that it's very low carry costs. Take your mind's eye back to your last parking lot you were in. How many staff did you see? And how often do you think we paint the lines on the floor? The maintenance costs are extremely low. So that's why I love parking. That's my bread and butter. That's really where I make the majority of my money. And Slices Make a Loaf is really, this is new. I mean, I really want to show and share how I think a lot of companies could benefit from the same strategies I've learned from or I've executed against throughout my journey. And that's the truth of it. Because I like doing this because I've spent a lot of time, searching myself. I look for nifty little tricks and maneuvers I can make as far as advertising is concerned, as far as executing against different strategies are concerned. And it's kind of difficult out there. You get lost with all these different types of things. So I kind of want to bring it back to basics to what I know has always worked for me, but has always worked for other big businesses out there. And it can be implemented so easily. So that's what this whole course is going to be about. It's how to take that big business plan and execute it in a way that any small business can do it. So, if I can get this board to work, that's the end of the preface, the introduction. So I want to see you in the next section. That's as far as it goes for me giving you the backstory. Everything from here on out is going to be execution. Every module I'm going to go through is going to be teaching you how to take one snippet of information, apply it to your business, and go ahead and execute. I'll see you in the next section. Hey, if you thought that was useful, you found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and press that little notification button so you get reminded of all the other videos that come up that I create, and share it too. That would be really helpful. Equally, if you have only seen this video, if this is the first video you've seen and you haven't seen the entire training series, I would recommend watching the whole thing. It's all up here on YouTube, so you should be able to do that pretty easily. At least it will make better sense for you then. I'll see you next time.